Welcome back to another Wisdom Wednesday discussion. I am your guide, Sans Inspire, generating, uplifting, inspiring, developing, and empowering you to live inspired every day, forever, because that's life. So, this week's discussion, week 4, we're at the end of the month. And each month we have a theme. This month's theme was the sacred shedding, letting go to grow. And this week, we are talking about the power of sacred space, emptying to receive. So let's start with affirmation. We're going to start by affirming that I am open, I am clear, I am ready to receive. I am open, I am clear, I am ready to receive. And we are affirming that because we cannot be closed, we cannot be distracted, for then that affects our ability to receive. And this is important because we may be looking at ourselves and wondering, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with my life? Not recognizing that just like the television or the radio, there needs to be a clear channel, static free, in order to receive or transmit that message. So if we're not open and if we're not clear, how are we going to receive? So by affirming this, we remove that negativity of how we view ourselves, recognizing that, oh, I was not open before. I was distracted. So this is why I didn't receive. It's not that I'm unable to receive or that there is nothing to receive. We have to be intent on declaring. So we are intent. We're going to state what we want. We affirm that we are open, we are clear, and we are ready to receive. Why? Because the intent is for us to learn to release. We're talking about letting go to grow. We're learning to release what fills the space without purpose. We have a lot of things that may be here, but should they be? What is their purpose? Just standing around doing nothing, you're just taking up space. We want to learn to release those things. Let them go. Declutter our lives, declutter our space, declutter our mind, our heart, our bodies, so that we can receive what is truly for us. So that clarity, that renewal, and that divine inspiration that we may need can now enter our lives. The outcome is that we begin to understand that stillness, when we are still, that doesn't mean that we are absent. When your life is still and it feels like nothing is going on, that doesn't mean that there's nothing going on. Things happen in the background, and it is a lot of times in that stillness, in that peace, where the actual growth is happening. It's not in the distractions, in the day-to-day, in the noise. It's in the silence, in the darkness, in the stillness. And as we begin to clear this, we consciously clear our space, we open ourselves for that divine inspiration. We open ourselves to receive direction for that rebirth and that renewal. Out with the old life, in with renewed life, where we are living inspired every day, forever, because that is life. And so to begin our discussion, I want to talk about fear as it pertains to emptiness. The fear of nothing. When we think about stepping out on faith, when we think about letting go, when we think about growth even, there is a fear that is surrounded or shrouded in this emptiness. Because something's empty, we think that there's nothing, it has no value. When we think about stepping out on faith and going somewhere that we've never been, we have a fear associated to that. When we talk about letting go of something, it's hard because if I let this go, what does that mean for my life? What does that mean for me? So we want to begin by naming the discomfort that we have associated with that fear or associated with that emptiness, the nothing. And what we often do is we fill that empty space, that silence, because we equate full with safe. We want to be safe. So we'll fill an empty space. We'll fill the silence with noise. We'll feel when we should be feeling. And so reminding ourselves that this emptiness doesn't mean we lack something. It's not that we are without. A lot of times I'm thinking when we remove something, it's so that we can bring something back in. You move into a new place, there's nothing there. Now, if you moved into a new place and there was already stuff there and it wasn't yours, would you embrace that? Do we want to fill our lives with things that are not ours just so we can say we have something? Or would we rather fill that empty space with the things that we want, the things that we need? So instead of us fearing emptiness, instead of us wanting to associate that with lack, we can actually begin to associate it with fulfillment. You can associate that with promise, potential, because where there is nothing, you can create something. It's an empty canvas for us to begin to paint whatever we want to paint on. We simply have to determine what is it that we want to fill this space with. What is it that I want from my life? How do I want that to look? The potential of emptiness, not the fear in emptiness. And so our scripture anchors that back this up. The first quote we have comes from Meister Eckhart, and it says that to be full of things is to be empty of God. To be empty of things is to be full of God. To be full of things. What are those things that we can be full of? We can be full of our own ego. We can be full of the worldly things. And when we are full of those things, we are empty of God. We lack that connection. We lack that understanding. We lack that appreciation. We lack meaning. When we are empty of those things, when we free ourselves of the ego, when we free ourselves of these worldly possessions that fill us up physically, mentally, and spiritually, we become full of God, purpose, clarity, understanding, appreciation, joy, peace, prosperity, abundance, truth, justice. The question is, what would we rather be full of? Foolish? No, full of it. Feeling full within, not lacking without. He brought me up also out of a horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon a rock and established my goings. He brought me up also out of an horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon a rock and established my going. God establishes your feet on solid ground. After bringing you through the emptiness, bringing you through the uncertain places, bringing you through those fearful times, not before. When we fill ourselves up with things, we want to avoid those times. We want to avoid that loss which makes us. What would your story be without it? Who would you be without those times that you had to go through the emptiness, through the uncertainty, through the darkness, the void that we think about, the void that we're afraid of in our mind to be devoid of thought and its silence, the void in our life to be devoid of people, places, and things. The void is the part of the divine delivery system. The void is where it all comes together. For out of darkness came the light. Out of nothingness came life. Through those dark, tumultuous hardships that you have been through, this is what created who you are. This is what creates your story. Do we truly embrace that? Or do we want to avoid that? Do we want to hide the fact that we were brought up out of a horrible pit? Do we want to hide the fact that we were brought out the miry clay? That we were established on a solid foundation? We wanted to make it seem like we've always been on this solid foundation, that nothing has ever happened to us, that we've never been through anything. Instead, those stories, they don't break you, they make you. That emptiness, that time alone is where you can show how much you've grown. And without it, we wonder what is the meaning. When the heart is empty, grace can enter. This is Rumi. When there is emptiness, things can be brought in. If your arms are full, you can't receive anything. You got to put something down. Yet if we fear to put something down because we have grown to hoard, then what can we ever receive? All aboard. You can't board a ship that's full. Some of those things that we are hoarding need to be released. And as long as we hold on to them, we don't receive what we need. And then we start to point the finger of blame, wonder why this is happening. Question is, why are we holding on so strongly to things that should have been released a long time ago? Why are we so busy filling the space that we forget creation? Like we said, light, life happened in the void. That's where it began. So the nothingness, that glass, half empty or half full, if it's full, there is nothing that can go in there. It must be empty. If it is empty, we can fill it up. And yet, when the glass is balanced, it is where we wonder, is it half empty or half full? It possesses the potential to be either. You can add more to it, and you can also take something away. So truly, we seek to find that balance, to be half full, or we can always be poured into. But most of us are a glass that is full, afraid to be empty. So we just stay full. There's nothing new that can go in there. When we fill up, we should be eager to spill over, to pour out, to be consumed, so that now we are empty and can be refilled again. Imagine you're at a restaurant and everybody likes free refills, but you won't drink what's in your glass. To be refilled is not a negative thing. It is a renewal. So are we afraid to be renewed? Are we afraid to be reborn? Are we afraid to be refilled, replenished? Recovery is a scary thing before you go through it. Rehab is a scary thing before you go through it. Renewal, the idea, is a scary thing because what am I going to be? I am so used to this. What does that look like? And the question that I often ponder is, when did I become afraid of tomorrow? Since when did I become afraid of something new? I remember when I was a kid, that was the most exciting. The first day of school, the new day. I can't wait till tomorrow. Now it seems that we're stuck in a position where we're not in the present moment. We don't want to look back on yesterday, and we're afraid of tomorrow. So we feel stuck. I don't want to be refilled. I don't want to empty this out. So I'm going to stay full, and now I'm stuck. The person who knows it all, that's torture. Because what else can they learn? Well, I know everything. That's not a good place to be. The joy that we have in this life is always because of the renewal. We can learn something new. We can do something different. We can change. And yet we become afraid of that. We become afraid to change. So we often want to stay the same. And then that becomes stale. And it becomes outdated. And then it gets removed. And then you feel like lost because I have no place, because you allowed yourself to be outdated and removed. We are here to be consistently every single day. That is a new opportunity to empty out so we can be full again. And we have to create that space. Because in the present, there's potential for the future through the reflection of the past. And this is what allows us to empty and pour today, tomorrow. So there's a power in creating this space. There's a power in this emptiness. And the emptiness, we must understand that's sacred. We all breathe, but do we pay attention to our breath? Are we noticing the pause between the exhale and the inhale? There is a pause in between that. But when we are too anxious and too fearful, you don't notice the pause because you're breathing. Like growing up, I had asthma. And when I would get too stressed, too excited, too anxious, my breathing, there's no pause. What I had to learn was to calm. Yet in that moment, it's hard to calm down when I had to learn how to calm that down, how to escape. Because if I didn't, that's a life or death situation. And we are facing these situations, it seems like on the daily, because we don't know how to escape, how to remove. how to empty that out. That pause in our breath is emptying to be renewed. If there's no pause in your breath, you can imagine what life is like. Very stressful. Because if you couldn't pause during a breath, then it is a very labored breath, as I just showed you. It's like having an asthma attack every day. It's just like I can learn to breathe. I had to learn how to breathe. We must learn how to breathe in life, how to renew, how to pause, how to inhale and exhale. This allows us to be fulfilled. And in that pause, this is where that divine renewal can take place. So if we're not pausing, we don't get renewed, restored, rebirth. We don't experience life. We feel out of control. We fear tomorrow. We're not present now. So how can we be focused in fear? We're not. So we're rushing and we're hurrying and we're labored. And this is about letting go of that, emptying so that we can receive. How can we receive unless we understand that to truly receive, we have to make room in our minds. We have to make room in our emotions. We have to make room in our spirit. We can't just make room in our calendars for more things and say, well, I've got room Tuesday. Let me add some more stuff here. No. We also have to make room in your emotions so that they're not always controlling and affecting your actions. We have to make room in our spirit so we can begin to feel and receive. And we have to make room in our mind because those thoughts that you continue to hold on to that you will not release are creating the most problems. It is 2025 and some people still think like it's 1965, like it's 1995, like it's 2005. You have to update the system. It truly makes no sense if we're updating all our computers and all our devices all the time. You get a new phone, you update the OS all the time, yet you are outdated in your thinking. This is why we can't relate after generation. You won't update. You're telling yourself, I'm too old and I can't do that. It's not. It's true because you said it. That's the only reason why it's true, is because you said it and you believed it. So you believe you can't, so you won't. You believe you're too old, so that's how you act. If there's no age on information, if you would like to renew the way you think, you can do that. If you want to release those emotions so you can feel and express new ones, you can do that. Just like if you want to hold on to the old ones, you can keep doing that. But that's not allowing our life to prosper. And we are here to never stop prospering. It requires effort daily. We're here to be inspired, not to expire. And so when you hold on, as we continue to hold on what is no longer aligning us, what no longer serves us, all we're doing is blocking what does align with us and what does serve us. Whether we know it or not, we are our biggest hater. You don't have to worry about somebody else blocking you and stopping you. This person over there is not blocking you or stopping you more than you are. And that's a hard pill for us to swallow. So we better drink some water because we're capable of doing it. And once we recognize where the role we play in our own lives of inhibiting our growth, our prosperity, our abundance, then we can truly begin to experience prosperity, abundance on a level that maybe we only heard about. Maybe we thought before, I wish this. But you don't have to wish. We have to begin to act. We have to begin to be. We have to stop blocking what is trying to come in. And we block these things because we are fearful. We are uncertain. We are doubtful. We fear what we don't know. We're uncertain about things we've never experienced. And we doubt change because it's foreign to us. And when you address your doubts and you begin to see and understand your uncertainties, you remove that fear. And we begin to live our life how it's meant to be, courageously, going through challenges and then celebrating those moments. You climb a mountain, a hardship, and then you don't even recognize when you're at the top of the mountain. You act as if we're still at the bottom of the mountain or as we're still going through the trek up the mountain. By the time we get up to the mountain, we're looking at the next mountain. Oh, here's another one. You got to start cherishing these moments. You have to begin to celebrate all that you've been through. You don't have to wait till one time a year where it's your birthday and then you celebrate your birthday. And then the next day you sad again. Have a celebration for all the things that you've been through. Go back to when you were 9 years old and you went through that. Celebrate because you ain't 9 anymore. So you went through that. You overcame it. You're not still struggling with it. Celebrate the fact that yesterday was hard. Tuesday sucked, but it's Wednesday today. I'm celebrating that because Wednesday is not Tuesday. Today is not yesterday, unless I am carrying yesterday into today. So therefore, I never experience the day. I used to be there. Every Monday sucked because it's Monday. Then I realized, well, why Sunday was okay? Why does Monday suck? And Friday is just so good. What if I can do that every day? What happens if every day is Friday? When you say that, do you hear the doubter in your mind saying, oh, no, that's not possible. Every day is not Friday. That's where you got to start. You hear something and the first thing you do is doubt it. Then you become uncertain. Well, how is this? And then as we begin to see it, we become fearful. Oh, wait, what happens? So I begin to change, but now I got to keep this up. Now I got to continue. You become fearful and start the cycle all over again. I'm fearful because I'm uncertain if I can, and I'm doubtful that I will. And it just keeps going. Yet if we're able to identify that, that's breaking the cycle. I'm fearful of something. Let me identify what in this am I uncertain about, because that will lead me straight to the thing that I doubt. And the moment I address that, I overcome that. And then it's simply recognizing how resilient we are. I continue to overcome. But I was focused only on the fact of when I was stuck. I wasn't reminding myself that I overcame something before this. I keep allowing myself to be stuck in the mud. Because to be honest, those pity parties that we have, we get used to those. And then we wonder what it'd be like, what would life be like if we weren't there? If I did receive joy on a daily basis, if I was in peace, what would I have to do to maintain that, to sustain that? And if we don't know, that's when we become uncertain, or that's when we doubt it, because we simply are unable to see it. Yet, a Zen Buddhist teaching tells us that when the cup is full, it cannot receive the tea. The cup is full. I can't pour nothing in there. So I'm going to and then the next person. And you never receive anything because your cup's full. But you look around and you're wondering, why is this person getting that? And why does that person get this? And why does that person get that? But I don't get anything. And your cup is full. Mentally, your cup is full. You know it all. Emotionally, your cup is full. You're holding on to that anger, the sadness. Your cup is full. Spiritually, the pain, the misunderstanding doesn't allow you to be fulfilled. So you may curse these things and say, there is no existence. There is no this, or there is no that, or I don't believe in this, or I don't believe in that. You are what you believe. So if you don't believe, you are what you believe. You believe in nothing. When you see yourself, you will see nothing. You will feel unworthy. And what does that person's life look like? What does that person do on a daily basis who doesn't believe in themselves, who can't look in the mirror? If they did, they see nothing. What does that person do to themselves? What does that person allow in their life? What does that person receive? Neither shall they say, lo here, or lo there. For behold, the kingdom of heaven is within you. This is Luke chapter 17, verse 21. Neither shall they say, lo here, or lo there. For behold, the kingdom of heaven is within you. When you clear what is not divine, you see what already is. So if we are told that we cannot be full, or we cannot receive because our cup is full, if we are told that it's not here, it ain't there, it's within you, why do we keep looking outside? Why do we keep expecting it to come later on somewhere else? Why are we comfortable being full? This is my question. Because in the Tao Te Ching, it tells us, empty yourself of everything. Let the mind rest at peace. Empty yourself of we say no. So we refuse. And if you don't empty yourself, how do you know what that is like? So you never experience the promise for your life. They tell you that the kingdom of heaven is within you. It's not here or there, but yet we're looking here or there. We looking high and low, except for the one place that we need to go. And we're so full that we're going to tell everybody else why they're not getting it. Oh, see, nope, you got it wrong. You're doing this wrong and you're doing that wrong. That's a full cup. And yet we have millions and millions of experts online telling everybody why their life ain't like this. I see the crap every single day. You can't get online without seeing a commercial that's telling you what AI is going to do to your life. It's telling you a commercial of why you're sick and why you need this new drug to do this. It's telling you why you're devoid of something and how you need to go get this thing to make you happy. When it's telling you right there, empty yourself of everything. When it's telling us right here that a full cup cannot receive. When it's telling us right here that stop going and everywhere and go within yourself. It didn't tell you to wait until you die. It didn't tell you to, I'm sorry, there's nothing that you can do, so your life sucks. It doesn't say that. For if it said that, it wouldn't be divine. It would be devoid of promise. And maybe we're not getting it because we want to seclude ourselves and we want to decide what's the best one and which one is better than this one and why this is right and that is wrong. And you miss the universal alignment. You miss the teaching. You miss the lesson. You need to lose. Ego got you thinking you such a winner, you can't learn nothing. So you can't experience anything. So you're full of ego. They say, let go my ego. But if you understand ego, it's spelled like ego. Let go of your ego. You don't know nothing. You haven't experienced anything. For the only way we know when we have experienced something, the only time we know that what we've done is when it's done. And it ain't the end yet. You know how you know it's not the end? Because you're still here talking about what you've been through. When it's all said and done, you ain't talking. My grandma can't talk. Her story's done. So as long as your story is still going on, you are still going on. Let go. For you cannot grow by holding on to those things that no longer serve or no longer align. How can the divine pour into a vessel that's already full of yesterday's worries? What is the miracle that you expect to happen without your participation? We want to let go and let God, but you don't let go. This is not some genie that you're working with where you can rub the lamp and get 3 wishes. This is active participation. If you don't let go, then you ain't letting God. If you don't let go, you ain't growing. If you don't empty out that cup, nothing is being poured into there. So let's go into how we can practice this practical application of being in that space of stillness. How do we get into that? First step, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Eat our sun, sir. The first step, sit in silence for 1 minute and notice here in your heart what feels crowded. Now, when you hear sit in silence for 1 minute, there can be that fear, there can be that uncertainty, and there can be doubt. Why am I sitting in silence for 1 minute? That ain't gonna do nothing. What is sitting in silence gonna do? I'm uncertain that if I sit in silence, it's gonna do anything because I've sat in silence before and nothing's happened. All I hear is this voice all these voices in my head. The fear is that if I sit in silence, that something's gonna come. These are all the things that crowd our mind, that clutter our hearts, our spirit, that block us. Because if we are afraid to sit in silence for 1 minute, yet you sit in silence every day of your life, not willing to express the things that are pulling you apart. You hold it in, but you won't sit and go within. So you're holding in what you need to let out. You're full, not fulfilled. So for 1 minute, sit in silence and just notice by feeling what's crowded in your heart. And the thing about this is you don't need to overcomplicate it. A lot of people want the steps and you want me to paint a picture for you. You're blocking your own potential. You're blocking your own ability. If you simply just begin to do it, you can feel your own heart. If you can't, then I would check my pulse. But if you can check your pulse, then you're alive. You can feel your heart. And if you can't, guess what you're doing? You're taking the steps to do that. So don't accept the fear and the uncertainty and the doubt. Challenge it. How else do we overcome if we don't challenge, if we don't practice and apply? So this isn't something you may be able to do the first time. That's why it is a practice that you continue to apply. And so the first step is just sit in silence for 1 minute. The second step is you're going to ask. Why? Because ask and you shall receive. You are going to ask, what am I holding on to that no longer serves my peace? What am I holding on to that no longer serves my peace? And to notice, we want to connect that breath. You want to begin to breathe deeply. Why? Because we don't breathe deep enough. We have shallow breathing because we have lived in fear. So when we breathe deep, we feel deep. You notice in the movies or the stories or even the commercials, the sinus commercials, when they take a breath of fresh air, it's not like this. It's, oh, smell the air. You don't, what, shortchanging it. So we want to sit, we want to ask, then we want to breathe. And in that breathing, we're also on that exhale, we are releasing. Whether it's a thought that is connected to it, that thought that you had in your mind that is blocking you, or it's that emotion. When you said, what am I holding on to? It's this anger. You're releasing that. And that can be hard because, again, the fear of emptiness. We've talked about this in previous discussions, how we believe that if I release the anger, that somehow somebody is getting away with something. When in fact, you holding on to the anger, you are punishing yourself for something that somebody else did. You can stay angry all you want to. How is that helping you? This morning, I was driving and I was dropping a lady off at the hospital and there was traffic. And so we were trying to get over to the left lane. And so I was in the right lane. The traffic is in the left, it's blocked. I got my blinker on. You know how some of those people, they do this? They don't even look at you. They don't want to let you in. So I was next to a person like that. But the person behind them, they were going to let me in. So I just had to wait till traffic moved. The person behind me was in a truck in a hurry. Man, honking his horn. So you know what he decided to do? Use his free will to make a choice. He's going to drive on the sidewalk. Then as he's driving past me, honks the horn again. Basically like saying, move the fuck out the way. And he's rushing to a red light. Such in a hurry to get from behind me because I'm blocking that he's rushing into a red light because he's angry. At what? Who knows? But what does that cause in our lives? We're holding on to anger of what somebody else did. And if you carry that all day, you don't feel peace. You don't feel joy. You don't notice what's going on around you because you're so angry. Or you're sad because somebody hurt you. This is not to say you won't feel those emotions. It's not to say that we won't go through those emotions. It is to say we're not supposed to hold on to those emotions. You release them. You feel them. You ensure that you feel them. We're never telling you not to feel them. You feel them so you can release them. All right, now I'll let it go. Anybody has had a child, and that child is growing up, you've been a child, and you grew up. Imagine if your parents never wanted to let you go. I don't want to let you go. At what point does that not feel like suffocation? At what point does that not feel like control? At what point is that not uncomfortable? So what is the difference in what you're doing to your emotions? Holding on to them, not wanting to let them go, because what would life be without you? Well, now that's control. Now that's discomfort. Now that's disease. Now that's death. You can release these things and live. You can choose before the choice is made for you. So we sit, we ask, we breathe deeply, and then we reflect, we journal. What am I now ready to receive? Because I sat for 1 minute to notice what was feeling crowded in my heart. I asked, what am I holding on to that no longer serves me? I breathe deep to begin to release the thought or emotion, and then I journal, or I sit and I think about it. And I'm saying, what am I now ready to receive? Am I now ready to receive the love that I thought wasn't possible? The peace that I swore wasn't there? The joy, the life. And the fifth part, and this is an option, it's all an option. You can choose to do it or you choose not to do it. But the fifth part is an option where you can clean a physical space that mirrors your inner clarity. Whether that be your closet, your car, the whole house, maybe it's a cup that you have, whatever it is, you can clean that physical space that mirrors your inner clarity. You can apply these same things while you're clearing, while you're cleaning. You can ask, what am I holding on to that no longer serves? Look around your house as you're cleaning. Oh, dang, I still got this stuff in here. I got to throw this stuff away. I'm going to give these clothes away. I don't even wear them. I can't even fit them, yet they're in my closet. Then ask yourself, what am I now ready to receive? Oh, now I got room for that new thing to go over here. Or now I got room for new clothes because I cleaned all these out and now I'm ready to refresh. You put these two things together, you do that, you sit in that space for yourself, you clear your emotions, your mind, your spirit, then you physically do that in a space. Watch how powerful that is. We practice and we apply. Most importantly, we honor that silence. We don't avoid it. We honor it. In that silence, that's a prayer without words. We don't even have to say nothing. Just let it be. To be or not to be. That is the question until you provide the answer. And so to contrast, we want to challenge. I said, how do we ever get past these things if we don't challenge them? So our contrast and challenge is being full versus being fulfilled, or being fearful of emptiness and embracing the sacred emptiness. So when we are full or we have a fear of emptiness, we often feel overwhelmed. We often feel distracted, overstimulated. I've been there. I'll be another thing. Then I'm just like, what am I doing? I've been doing this for 2 hours. What's going on? Oh man, there's too much going on. I'm overstimulated. I'm also distracted. I'm overwhelmed. Oh, I need to just relax. I need to go somewhere. I need a drink. I need to do. This leads to our anxiety or our anxious rushing to fill the void. For instance, instead of waiting for what is ours, we will settle for less. Instead of embracing that emptiness, we're going to rush into another relationship. Instead of being silent, we got to create some noise. I got to make, because I don't want to sit with these thoughts. If it's silent, then I start hearing it, can't hear it, turn the music on, turn the TV on, start doing whatever I need to distract myself. When we just go through it, we get straight to it. You don't end up settling for less than you deserve. And you don't create that cycle of lack and continuing it, because right at that moment where we were just about to cry, nope, we went right back into it. So now we created that cycle of lack and desperation. Now I just need this thing, and now I'm just going to get a job just because, or now I'm just with a person just because I don't want to be alone. Now I'm just doing this thing because I'm just going outside when I should have just been inside. I'm bored. I'm just get out of here and go somewhere. Instead of embracing that stillness, embracing that silence, sitting in it, relaxing. Nope, we got to get up and do something, because we equate relaxation with laziness, and I'm always got to be doing something. Sleep is for the rich. Well, if sleep is for the rich, then we need to be sleeping more. Only wealthy people can afford to sleep. That's kind of crazy. You're telling me that I'm poor, so I don't deserve sleep. No, if sleep is for the rich, then I'm going to sleep all day. Because who determined that you are poor or undeserving? And if somebody pointed at you and said you're undeserving, who qualified them to tell you what you deserve? When you were already told and promised. Are we challenging these things or just accepting them? Yet when we're fulfilled, not full, but fulfilled, and we are embracing this emptiness, we're clear. The mind is clear. Emotions are clear. Spirit is clear. You're present and you're receptive. You can receive the downloads, the messages, the lessons, the understanding, because you're not full of it. You're not thinking, oh, I know it all. That's not, I don't need that. No, you're receptive. Let me receive. This person can teach me. But if we're full, we think, oh, because you're younger than me, you can't teach me nothing. What do you know? When we're fulfilled, we understand that I can learn from all things. That is why I'm present and receptive. I'm looking, I'm observing, I'm receiving, discerning. I need this, I don't need this. When I'm full, I ain't gonna take nothing. I don't need that. Everything is of no value. I am the thing that is most important around here. Dr. Evil, right? And so when we are fulfilled, this will lead us to that peaceful existence, that peaceful anticipation where we're sitting around envisioning what we're going to be experiencing later on, seeing ourselves in that opportunity, in that life, in that relationship, in that career. We are waiting patiently. We operate on divine timing, so it's not a rush. No, I'm gonna get there. Don't worry about it. The tortoise and the hare, the little engine that could. I'm gonna just keep going and going. We're holding space for what truly aligns with us. We're not in a race to go get the next thing. Then all those things are unfulfilled, and each one of those things that we try to replace, that we try to fill the void with, ends up taking a piece of us, and we end up tearing little pieces of us apart. Now this thing has it over here. This person's got a piece. That person, we feel scattered all over the place. We don't feel whole. We don't like to be seen. We try to put on a smile, but it's not really there. We try to make ourselves feel good, but we can't. When you're fulfilled, you understand there's no rush. That what is mine, what is meant for me, no one can ever take that from me. And if I didn't get it then, I'll get it now. We believe that if it's not here right now, then all of a sudden, no. This is the beauty of actually going through life. Because where I was in my 20s, where I am now, the person I was in my 20s wouldn't even believe it. What? Unbelievable. Because he thought he was so far behind because he's looking at what everybody else is doing. And now a lot of those people that I thought was ahead then, they're not in the same place. They're not as high up as we thought. Those who used to be at the top of the mountain look like they falling down to the valley now. They're at the bottom. And we've seen this. You've seen rich and powerful people all of a sudden fall from grace. Kings dethroned. And if you are fulfilled and you embrace the emptiness, then you understand that if I am low today, that I also have the potential to be high tomorrow. If I am empty, then I have the potential to be fulfilled. If I am at rock bottom, that's the furthest that you can go. You at the bottom, look up. That's the only way you're going to get to the top. But if you're so focused on being at the bottom that you're actually looking down at the bottom, you don't recognize that I can look up and there is the way out. There is the promise. But I'd rather be stuck in the present circumstance, thinking about yesterday and how I got in this and cursing everybody who put me here and holding on to that anger and that they did this to me, and you never get out of that. The one choice that we should be making every single day is how can I let go of yesterday so that I can experience more of today? Ain't no tomorrow. How can I let go of yesterday so that I can experience more of today, right now? If I got to put this down, I'm putting it down. If I just left a relationship, then this is my time to realign myself. I don't need to rush into another one. I don't need to be looking at, oh, if somebody else is out there because that person wasn't for me, so I'm going to jump to somebody else. No. Sit with myself. If I just lost a job, sit in that moment and figure out what is the actual job that I would like to have. Do I even want a job? Maybe this is my chance to move into my career. Maybe this is my opportunity that I've been asking for when I was at that job that I didn't want to be at, asking God to please just give me the opportunity. Then they said, you're fired. And you said, why? You asked for a new opportunity. You don't get to control how it happens. But if you are aware, if you are aligned, you're going to take this moment and you're going to seize it. Boom. So now this is my moment. This is the void where I can create something new. I can be reborn. This is where life begins. Where one thing ends, another thing begins. Will you allow that space? Because you cannot be filled and fulfilled at the same time. So which will you choose? To be full, not being able to be poured into, being overwhelmed and distracted, or will you choose to be fulfilled, to be clear, present, receptive, able to be refilled, empty, constantly? It's your choice. I just want you to be reminded that emptiness is not loss. It's preparation for abundance. Yet loss is not the end all be all. In that loss, there's the lesson that you need to learn. In that emptiness, there is the preparation for the new. What will you choose? I hope that you choose